All right, it is the last Friday of 2023, and as you guys can see behind me, I have my MPC X Special Edition, and I have my Roland Fantom 06, and I'm going to show you guys how to hook this up. So let's go ahead and get to it. Bolo! All right, before we get started, make sure you guys go ahead and click my link in the description and head over to zounds.com. They have a whole bunch of stuff on their site that requires no credit or background check. Now, it's not everything on the site. Now, you can't get like an MPC X Special Edition or a Roland Fantom 06 or 08 or something like that. You can't get those with that offer, but there is a whole bunch of stuff on the site that you can get with no credit or background check, meaning you can order the stuff on the site, they'll ship it to you, and you just pay it off in monthly installments. All you have to do is link a credit or debit card up to the account. So if you guys are looking for some equipment, go ahead and click that link in the description and head over to zounds.com right now and find some stuff and save. All right, so today I'm going to show you guys from beginning to the end on how to hook up these Roland Fantoms to your MPC X or your MPC Live, or your MPC One. This is geared for a lot of you guys who are first timers on doing this. It is very easy, and I'm going to show you guys how to select your sounds using the scenes, and I'm going to show you guys how to select sounds using your MSB and LSB banks. Very easy. So let's go ahead and get to it, and I hope this will benefit you, and I hope you guys will learn from this very easily. So let's get to it right now. All right, so let's go ahead and get to this. The first thing that you're going to have to do is make sure you have everything connected. Of course, make sure all your power cords are plugged in. Okay, make sure everything is plugged in. And then you want to make sure that you have your 1/4-inch cables coming out of the Roland 06 or 08 into the inputs of the MPC X or X Special Edition, or you can have them go into a mixer. It's a little bit easier that way, but I like to run mine through here so I can get that, you know, that extra MPC feel from the conversion and all that stuff like that. But you can do it that way. And then you want to make sure you want to have your outputs of the MPC going into your audio interface or your monitor select or whatever you want to use from there. Next thing you want to do is you want to take that USB from your keyboard and run that into the USB input of the MPC, and in that way it will transfer all of the MIDI. Now you can use the regular MIDI ports as well, but it's just way much easier just to go ahead and just use the USB. Much easier to use that. All right, so once we do that, we're going to go ahead and hit menu. We're going to hit preferences, and then inside of preferences we're going to select the MIDI sync. And then inside of the MIDI sync, you should see something like this, Fantom 06, 07, 08. And then you want to make sure that these are on track. Okay, so make sure the track is highlighted. That way it will show up when you go into your main screen. So we want to make sure that's selected. You can actually go in here and change this if you want to. So you can change this to a different name if you want. I just leave it regular for right now. All right, so let's go right here to main. Now, inside of main, what you want to do is when you have everything connected, you want to go right here to this MIDI right here. You click on that, you go right here to MIDI port, and then you select the Fantom 06, 07, or 08, whichever model that you have. All of them work the same way. Okay, so you're fine either way. Okay, once we have that and once we know that everything is connected, first thing that we want to do is we want to make sure local control is turned off. So we want to go right here into our menu right here. We want to go to system. Once we go into system, we want to go down until we see the local control, which is usually in the audio tab. Okay, so we're going to scroll down here. We're going to go right here to sound, click on sound. And as you guys can see, the local switch is turned on because I reset this whole keyboard. So it's actually turned on. We want to turn this off. Okay, we can turn that off. And then once we turn that off, we can either press right to save these system settings, or if you want to leave everything, you know, to where it's the original settings, you can leave it like that and you won't have no issue. But you want to have that turned off so you won't have that double MIDI sound or whatever going on with that. Okay, so once we do that, we can go ahead and exit out of all of that stuff. So we can exit out of that, and then we can go right here to scene. Now, once we're in scene, we're going to have to be in an initialized scene. So most of the time when you start this up, it's going to be right here. It's going to start right here on, what is this, A1, which is called Homecoming, okay? What you want to do is you want to go to an initialized scene, and that is going to be in C, okay? It's going to be like C28 or something like that, okay? So that's the initialized scene right there. So it's not going to have any type of effects or anything. It's going to be an initialized scene to where you can go ahead and start building your tracks from. Very, very important, okay? So you want to make sure that that is turned on to C28, okay? Now, once you do that, basically you can go in here and initialize scene, and then you can go right here to zone view. So this is a scene. We're going to go to zone view. And in zone view, it shows all of your tracks that you can use. So you can use track 1 all the way down to MIDI track 16. So these are all the different MIDI channels that you can use from 1 to 16. And in that way, you can select your sounds. Very easy to select your sounds in here because inside of a scene, it works the same way just like the older keyboards where we used to call them sequences inside of here. So if you pick your sounds in here, then you can just save this scene, and then those sounds will be saved with the scene, and you can just write it on here. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go right here to program, and we have this off for right now. So we're going to do it just the old school way, okay? So right now we have it on, what is this, grand piano right here, and we play it. As you guys can hear, it's the grand piano playing because we're on MIDI channel 1, and we're on the first channel inside of the zone. See, 1, MIDI channel 1, right there. So we're playing that. Now, what we can do, if we want to select sounds, we can go ahead and we can either scroll through the sounds like this. We can do that. Or what we can do is, like with this piano right here, we can double click on it, and it takes us to all of the sounds that's associated with the piano. So you have a regular piano, a pop piano, and a grand piano. Now, say for instance, we want to go to electric piano. We can double click on that, and it shows us all of the sounds in here. Or we can go to an organ, double click on that. We can go to an organ, select that, and we can play it. So, okay, we have a sound on MIDI channel 1. So now what we want to do is we want to pick a sound for MIDI channel 2. So what we'll do is we'll go to another track. We will select the Fantom 06, 07, 08. Then we're going to change this right here to MIDI channel 2. So now when we go to our zone view, we got to make sure that we're on MIDI channel 2 right here. We got to make sure we're on that. We don't need to be on 1 anymore. We need to be on 2. Now that we're on 2, it's on the piano, so when we play it, okay, so we got the piano. Say, for instance, we want to change that sound. We can go right over here. Let's say, for instance, we want to go to a guitar. We can double click on that, and then we can scroll through and find us like a nylon guitar, and we can play that. Okay, cool. So we have a guitar on MIDI channel 2. So now let's say we want to add another sound to this. So we can go to our next track. Now, it doesn't matter what track we're on. It just matters what MIDI channel we're on. Because I know a lot of y'all were like, well, what if I want to go to track 8 and I would use MIDI channel 3? You can do that. You can go all the way up to track 8. Let's see. We can go to track 8 and let's pick MIDI channel 3. MIDI channel 3. Okay, make sure that we have this selected for the Fantom. Now, when we go back to our zone view, okay, make sure we're on MIDI track 3. So we can do that since we're on a touch screen on here. And then we're going to pick some strings. Let's pick some strings. So we can double click on that. We can pick some strings, and then we can play it. So now we have 3 tracks of MIDI. And it doesn't matter what track we're on. It just matters that the MIDI track is associated with the MIDI track on here. Okay, so I know y'all had some questions with my other videos, but as long as the MIDI track is associated with in here, it doesn't matter what track that we're on. We can be on track 25. As long as we're on this MIDI track, it's only going to play MIDI track 3 on here. Okay, so I'm going to play to the corresponding MIDI that's on here. And then say, for instance, we like this scene, we can actually save this scene. So say, for instance, we make a whole beat with this. We can go in and we can press right on here. We can save the scene. We can save the scene right here. We can save that. We can save it, name it. And then that way, once we do that, we can go ahead and save it on here as well. So we have to save the sequence on here. And what I tell people in this situation, save the sequence first, and then save the scene on here as the same name as the sequence on here. That way you can keep up with everything. So when you want to open up this project later on, if need be, you will know that this could be called sequence 456. And then you would name this scene like sequence 456. So you'll know what sounds go to, what sequence in here, okay? So that's the old school method of doing this, okay? That's the old school method of doing this. Now, there's actually another way of doing this, and this is the way you guys know how I like to do it. So let's go back. Let's exit out of that. Let's go back. Let's go back to zone view, okay? Which we can actually press zone view and go to different zones. So if you press it like that, it'll go that, or it'll get smaller so you can see more, or you can do that, you can see all of them. So I like to be kind of like in this view right here. This is kind of like the best view. All right, so I'm gonna show you guys my way of how I do it. Now, my way of doing it is, say for instance, we're in MIDI track 1, okay? What I like to do is I like to use the MSB and LSB banks. So what I do is I turn the program channel on. So I turn that on, and as you guys can see, it activates the bank MSB and the bank LSB. Pretty much on all Roland stuff is going to start on MSB 87, okay? And then they have stuff online that tells you what sounds correspond to the MSB and LSB numbers. So if you're trying to find something, you can actually look that up. So it starts at 87, and the LSB usually starts around 64, okay? And then now, once I play this, okay, it plays that sound on MIDI channel 1, okay? And then when I change the program, when I change these program values, as you guys can see on MIDI channel 1 right here, watch this, on MIDI channel 1, let me get this in focus. On MIDI channel 1, it's gonna change. So look, it's gonna change while I'm changing these numbers up here as well. So look at that, everything is changing. There we go. So it's changing because we are on MIDI channel 1. So whatever we change in here, it's going to change on MIDI channel 1. So now we're in a whole nother sound. Okay, so now we have that sound. We can go to track 2. We're on MIDI channel 2. Let's go ahead and turn on the MSB and LSB. Let's go to 87 again, right? And I think the other one, I think is like 98, I believe. But we're going to start with 87. And then we're going to start at 64, right? That 64 is like the starting point. But we can go to LSB 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73. We can go all the way and up. So let's start at 87, 73, and let's go to just like a random number. Let's go to 12, right? That's going to give us a bell right there, right? On MIDI channel 2. So let's go ahead and play it. And then we change the value. We change the values. As you guys can see on MIDI channel 2, it's going to change those bells on there for us. So now we have a tubular bell on that one. And that has like a delay on it already. So that's kind of cool. So that's how you can change these sounds in here. In the same way like how we do it before, we can actually go to another track, like, what's this, track 8? We can go to track 8. We're already set on MIDI channel 3, or we can put it on whatever channel. We can put this on MIDI channel 4, or, yeah, MIDI channel 4. We can turn this program on. We're going to do 87. Let's go right here to 87. Let's go to 69. 87, 69. And then we're going to go to like 18. And then we're on MIDI channel 4 because we're on MIDI channel 4. So in 4, right? Now we play a sound. So we have everything split up. So now we can make all of our tracks inside of here with the MSB and LSB. But the good part about this is when we make a beat on here, when we sequence our beat or whatever, we can just save the sequence in here. We don't have to save anything else on here. We can just save the sequence in here. And then once we save that sequence in here, we can name it. And since we have the MSB and LSB values on here, the sounds will automatically pull up. They will automatically pull up once we open up this sequence or this session again from the MPC, because now that we have those values, this can talk to this and tell it what to do. All right, so I know that was a lot that I packed in there, but I hope you guys got on how I set this up. And I hope you guys understood on how to pick sounds the first way and how to pick sounds using the MSB and LSB banks. So I hope you guys understood what I was doing. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys learned something from it. And like I always say, peace out.